Hi there, John Draws here, coming to you again from Macomb Square Music. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to tune your bass drum. Now, I've got a rather old bass drum, it's a 1964 Ludwig club date, but it won't really matter so much when I'm telling you about tuning. Again, a lot of guys on the internet tell you how to tune your drums. This is my way. Again, I'm going to follow my general rule from my other videos on tuning is the resonant head is thinner, the batter head is thicker, the resonant head is tighter, the batter head is looser. Again, I'm not going to have you watch me tune the drum because that's insanely boring. Start with the resonant head here, and I have it fairly tight. Getting a pretty high pitch. And people say, well, John, that sounds really high and pingy. I don't play on this head. This head just adds a little bit of resonance, a little bit of body to the sound. So I want it to be tight. And it has the original, I don't know if you can see the logo there, it had the original 1964 Ludwig Weathermaster head on there. It's pretty beat up, but it still works. Again, you put it on there, finger tight all the way around. In this case, you use the T-bars. You tune it up so that at each tension rod it sounds the same. And I get it fairly tight. Now, on the batter head, the one you play on, I recommend a thick head, okay? Thicker than what's on your resonant head. I use a Remo Pinstripe, there's Remo Emperor, there's Remo Power Strokes, there's lots of different heads you can put on there. Of course, there's Aquarian heads, there's Evans heads. Remo Pinstripe is a 2-ply head, and then has little fibers on the end that help control overtones a little bit. As you can see here, that goes in quite a bit. Especially for your rock sound, I put the drum on with just enough tension to where you hear a tone. And that's it. As soon as it makes it sound like you're hitting plastic, as soon as it actually is tight enough just to barely make a sound, then I'm done. And it gets that nice thump you want out of the bass drum. I'm going to turn it this way so you can hear it. Like all my drum sounds, it's going to have a nice round sound. It's going to go boom, boom. It's going to be like a note. Just like if I were playing bassoon or flute or trombone, it's going to make a note. Boom, boom. But it's a fairly short sound. Boom, boom. It's nice and deep and thick and heavy and loud. Now, on all my drums, I mentioned for other videos, I use no muffling. We do call tuning wide open. Of all the drums that I might muffle, bass drum is number one. Again, I keep promising this, and it's coming. I'm gonna have a video on how to muffle your drums. But for me, muffling is not part of the sound. It's not part of my tuning. I know a lot of drummers it is. I met drummers who say, John, why do you bother tuning your drums? Just get them tight and muffle them. The muffling kills all the sound. Now, this is plenty loud and it sounds like a cannon. I just love it. You just get barely tight enough and there's almost no tension on these at all. Like sometimes when I'm playing these, I'll like vibrate loose a little bit and I get wrinkles on my head. But yeah, not much tension at all on that batter head. Now if you're playing jazz or fusion, you might crank it a bit higher. For your general rock type sound, nice and loose. Yeah, just tight enough that it gets a sound. And that's it. You know, that nice deep thud you're wanting for your rock sound. That's still articulate enough. You're still going to be able to hear, even if you put double bass drum pedals, you're going to hear every note. And you get that nice thump you want. Bass drummers want that thump. And I got it there. That's really all there is to it. I get the front head as tight as I want to. The back head, or the batter head, just barely on. Just enough that I get a tone. And that's what I want. Unless you want a higher pitch, you can tune it a little higher. But as always, the resonant head is thinner and it's tighter. The batter head is thicker and it's looser. And that gives me that wonderful round tone. Boom, boom. It's not very long. Without any muffling, the sound is pretty short. And the drum is loud and ringy, and it sounds great. I don't kill any of the sound. As far as cutting a hole in the front of your drum head, I don't like doing that. I've played on drum sets like that. That changes the sound a bit. If that's the sound you like, that's fine. Some people like to put the microphone in the drum, and so that comes out in handy. Some people have a large porthole and allows them to stuff muffling in. And if you're going to take muffling in and take it out, it does come in handy. You have to take the head off every time you want to change your muffling. That does come in handy. I personally don't do it, but a lot of drummers do. And I've played on drum sets like that, and depending on how big the hole is and where it is, can really affect the sound and the feel. Because if there's a big hole in the front, all the air leaves really quickly. It actually takes some of the rebound out from your, when you're playing with your foot. I do want to say this though. It is a bad idea to take the resonant head off completely. Even if you don't like the sound of the resonant head off, if that's not part of your sound even, what you should do is get out an X-Acto knife and cut off about an inch away from the edge, and then leave the head on. It won't make any sound. There's not enough head for it to even make a sound. But this is part of what holds the drum together. Without that front head on, the resonant head, especially if you have toms on top, that bass drum will collapse over time. Which actually was how I found this drum. When I bought this drum years ago, it had no front head on it. I went online and searched and I found all original equipment, the T-bars, the claws, the hoop, and I kind of refurbished it. The maple glue ring was busted out and the drum plies were coming apart. A friend of mine whose dad was a carpenter helped me glue it back together, and we built a glue ring for the inside and put it in there and kind of gave this drum new life again so it could be played. But definitely want to keep a resonant head on there. If you don't like that sound, just cut a little bit off from the edge so most of the drum head's gone, but still that helps the drum stay together. This is part of the tension from the head is part of what keeps the drum round and keeps it together. So that's really it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.